Hey everybody, Mr. Wagner here. I am going to show you all about push buttons and servos today on the Arduino and how that works. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Yes. Okay, I'm loving this. Okay, here we go. So again, in topics, down here we are on day 4. Arduino push button and servo. Here's the slideshow I'm going to show you. Now, if you look, let's see here. This thing here, oh my God, what did I do? Slideshow. This thing here is called a servo, okay? And let's see if I alt tab over here, this is a servo. See this thing? Yeah. Now this is like a little micro servo compared to the ones you're using on your robot. But that is a servo. And this down here is a push button. Okay? When you push the push button, what do you think it does?
It's going to turn on.
Yeah, it's going to turn on. Okay. So a push button looks like this. And there are two things. So like A and B are connected and C and D are connected. So if I push B, then that means if I push the button, then that means this little switch closes. So you have a connection between A and C, and you have a connection between A and D, and actually between A and B. So anytime you push the button, it's like all these things connect, okay? And what it looks like on the inside is you got this little spring, and when you push it down, the metal connects in between. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we are going to set up a push button circuit on our Arduino, and I'm going to show you really quickly what that looks like. Okay? Now, let's alt tab over to this. And this is my little push button. See it? Really small. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove that in between this. Okay, just like that. Okay. Now, to hook it up, basically what I do, first off, before I begin that, I want you to notice on here on this Arduino, I have ground. Let's see here. See ground? Ground I have coming up here, and I have it connected to this blue line. All of these are electrically connected, all the entire blue line, and that's why they call that minus, because minus is the same thing as ground. And then I have this one here. Let's see if, come on, give me my focus. Okay, notice how I have 5 volts. I have that red line connected to here. Now, if you connect your ground and your red to the minus and the plus, it just makes it really easy because then you can run wires very easily to this, okay? So let's look at our circuit that we need to connect right here. We want to connect pin 4 to one side of the LED, and we want to connect the other side to ground, okay? So pin 4 and then ground. Everybody cool with that?
Yep.
Okay, so let's take a look. We need to connect pin 4. So I got this lovely wire here. I'm going to, not that one. I'm going to connect this white wire from pin 4. Okay, pin 4 to one side of the switch. And I'm going to connect the ground. Remember I said that everything along that blue line is now ground. I'm going to connect that right here. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now to get that push button working, we basically have a little bit of code here. We're going to do serial begin. Let's see if I can copy. No, can't copy it. Let's go back here. So this is our code. And let's go ahead and put that in our sketch, in our Arduino. Okay, so this should be pretty easy. We need serial begin 9600, and then we need to do a pin mode, and then we do an input pull up. Okay, so let's go here. So we're going to type in serial.begin 9600. And then we're going to do pin mode. And we're going to say 4 because we're using the 4 pin. And then we're going to say input underscore pull up. Okay. Now, whenever you're doing a push button pin, you do use that input pull up. You don't use it any other time. And most of the time you can just copy and paste this code. Okay. For some reason that didn't copy and paste. Okay. So let's take a look at what we got here. Actually, let's do this. You guys know that you can sort of separate these nicely like this. Okay, so now let me show you what we're going to do here. We're going to put a new command in here. You've never seen serial like this, right? Have I showed you serial, the serial port? So let's put this command in here, serial.println, okay? Serial.println, just like that. And then we're going to put in a command called digital read. And then we are going to put whatever pin we were digitally reading, just like that. Just like that. And then we'll drop a delay on here, delay 100. Okay, 100 milliseconds. So what we're doing here is we are looking at pin 4. Okay, we're going to look at pin 4, look and see what is on pin 4. Have we grounded it, or is it at 0 or is it at 1? Okay, and then we're going to delay. Okay, so what we'll do, let's go ahead and upload it. Yikes. Serial is capitalized here. We'll upload. Okay, so the code is actually running, but you can't see anything happening. See this little button over here? That's called the serial monitor. And if I click on that, it'll show me what's going on. Now you see all these ones that are happening? 1, 1, 1. Watch what happens when I push the button. Now it's 0. Now if I let up, it's 1, 0. See how that works? So that's really kind of cool because now I can put a push button and it tells me what's going on. Now I can tell you this, in every Xbox game, in every Nintendo Switch, in every car where you push the up volume on your stereo, there's code in there that does precisely this. Okay? You push a button and something happens. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. Whether you think it's cool or not, maybe someday you will come to the grand illusion that it's cool. Okay, so that is exactly what we're doing there. Now, let me go back and make this big again. let's take a look at our code. This push button code here, what I've done here is I have written some code that basically on this line 11, let me make that bigger. On that line 11, I basically say if digital read of the button is low, then I want to light up the LED. Remember we had that LED way back in the day where it would just like turn on and turn off and turn on and turn off? Well, this little bit of code, what you can do here is you can read the button push, and if the button push is low, if it's 0, then I could turn on that LED. Or if the button push is high, I can turn off the LED. Does that kind of make sense? Let me see if I have some code in here. Oh, look at this. I actually have the code in here where you can copy and paste it. I forgot that I did this. So let me copy and paste the push button code, Command C, and I'm going to go back into this sketch, Command V, and when I run this, okay, I've uploaded the code. You can't really see what's going on here, but if I come over here, notice how this LED right here where my finger is off, but when I push the button, it should turn it on. See? On and off. Okay? And the reason that that works is because I'm looking at the state of the LED, the state of the push button, and it's turning on the LED. Okay? So you could have like a push button where you push the button and then maybe it plays a song, or you could have push the button and maybe it, fires a Nerf gun or something like that. There's all kinds of really cool things you can do with this kind of stuff, and that's kind of why I'm teaching you it. Okay, so let's go back to our slideshow, wherever the heck it is. Maybe it's here. Okay, here it is. And okay, in the slideshow, this little line here, this is where I showed you that power and ground bus. Remember, that's where I just, this whole idea of a bus is if I put power going from the 5 volts to that red line and the ground to the black line, then I can use those two places to put in LED. I can use those places to pick up ground and power. Okay, so that we've already done. Now, the next thing that we're going to work on here is a servo. This is a servo. A servo, let me Alt-Tab, let me look here. Okay, a servo basically has 3 lines. This is a servo. It has 3 connections. Okay, so when you look at this, there's 3 connections. One is the brown line, and that goes to ground. The middle one is power. That goes to your 5 volts. And your orange one is the signal. So if I send a signal, it will move the servo. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to put the red line, because remember I said that was power. We're going to put that there into the 5 volts. We're going to put the ground into ground, because that's ground, right? And then the yellow line, I believe we plugged that one into pin 9. Okay? If I remember my instructions correct, okay? Because I wrote them last week, okay? So there's the servo. The servo's hooked up. We're going to leave the push button hooked up, okay? And let's take a look at the code of what you could do. Let's see here. Yes, I connected the servo to pin 9, okay? Now, here's the servo code. Now let's take a look. Now the servo code, this one's kind of weird. This actually uses what's known as a library. And you have to put in this bit of code which says include servo.h, which is basically the thing to say, okay, we're going to use the servo. Then I have to define the servo pin as 9. And then I have to define the servo object. Mac, did you do any object-oriented programming in computer principles? Okay. Well, an object is kind of like a variable, but it's like a variable that you can do a lot of stuff with. Okay. So we do that, and then we have to attach the servo to the my servo object. And then when we write a number to that my servo object, the servo will move. Okay? And then when we write a 0, then the servo will stop moving. Okay? So let me see if I can get that code. Let's see, it's right here. Let's see if I have that first. Okay, so here's the first bit of servo code. Control C, and I'm going to put that servo code in here. So, okay, so I have my servo code in here, and now when I run this, if we look at it, notice how my servo is now moving. See that? Ah! Okay, see how my servo is moving? So what do you think you could use the servo for? Remember we used it for the arm? Yeah. Remember that? Remember that, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. Okay, so let's see here. Let me go back to where my presentation was. Okay, so the assignment for this, if you're not doing your Tinkercad, is basically take the push button code and take the servo code and connect them together in such a way that if you push the push button, then the servo moves, okay? Now, that could be really neat because, like, say, for instance, you have your servo hooked up to, like, you know, a lever or something, then you could push the push button and the servo would move, okay? So the servo is a really useful thing because it's actually a little motor that moves something. And then the push button is really a useful thing because when you push it, something happens. Okay? Make sense? Okay. Do I have any questions about the servo or the push button? What?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, we got a not really. Okay, and you guys all know what we're doing. Either the Tinkercad, right?
Yep.
Or this servo stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. I am going to go ahead and stop. Everybody awesome. Thanks.